Hi, I'm the founder of Blackbright News and also the director of Blackbright Community Services, which is an out-of-hours social enterprise geared to support those who have been abused by power, trust and other exploitative practices. In May 2015, I spearheaded a human trafficking conference, the first of its kind in Luton, which was attended by frontline professionals, the Bedfordshire Police, NSPCC, Safeguarding, Leeds, L&D Hospital, the Home Office were there, UK Border Force. I was quite impressed, and we had on the panel Kevin Highland, OBE. He's the UK's first independent anti-slavery commissioner, formerly the head of the Metropolitan Police. We also had Major Anne Reid of the Salvation Army. We had Hannah Stott, Specialist Lead for Child Trafficking. We had Christopher Gall from Migrant Help. And, you know, these were key people in the industry who were there to help raise awareness about human trafficking in Luton in specifically. But, you know, it is a global institution. Human trafficking has coined the term modern day slavery. Not only is it illegal, but it's now on an international scale. Crime Stoppers UK reckon it's the second most profitable crime in the world, following drugs. They estimate a yearly value of £20 million in the UK alone, and a global trade value of 30 billion. Why is this? Well, mostly it's because traffickers prey on the vulnerable. Victims range from women, men and children of any race, religion, socio-economic background or educational level. They can be legal immigrants or illegal immigrants. The common denominator for them all is that they are vulnerable, usually poor, weak, unloved, needy or insecure, and they could be homeless. You know, they're runaways. Maybe they're just a victim of circumstance. Sometimes even their parents sell them off to traffickers because they want to make some money. Prostitutes can also become trafficking victims. And so I remember in March 2014 that the BBC reported that 2 Hungarian women were found at an address in Farley Hill, here in Luton. The Connollys, also in Luton, were charged with human trafficking. You know, we only know the small scale. You know, the brothels, that's full of trafficked victims. And I'm not sure why human trafficking is being referred to as modern day slavery, other than the fact that the victims are often forced to work for very little or for no pay at all, and often in really depraved and awful conditions. Some victims are made to work in factories, in the fields, and like I said, the brothels. Sometimes victims are allowed to mingle with members of the public, which make them difficult to identify. But the key factors to identifying human trafficking victim is normally the eye contact. They might seem a little shifty. Usually they're accompanied by someone. Tends to be a male, could be a female, who seems to be monitoring them. If they send them in the shop, they seem to be watching what they're doing, or, you know, like I said, monitoring them. They might look malnourished, you know, their clothes might not be clean, and they look a bit wayward. They may show signs of physical abuse if they're with abusive traffickers, or they might look fearful and anxious. These components alone are not going to help you to identify them, but at least if you're aware, you could be in a shop and you notice something going on and something that doesn't look quite right, you're not quite sure what it is. And it could be that you're noticing a trafficked child or a trafficked adult. Traffickers tend to share the same national, ethical or cultural background as the victims. 32% of them nationals, according to the National Human Trafficking Resource Centre, say that this could be the reason why victims get manipulated and caught in the trap, because they depend so much on people who speak the same language as them to show them the ropes, not realizing that these are the same people who are going to hold them hostage in very bad conditions. Now you might say to yourself, why, how can it happen? Oh, it can't happen to me. It can happen to anyone. You have a row with your husband, a child has a row with their parents, they run out on the street, they're feeling distressed, they're feeling depressed, they're in a mood where they're angry, rebellious. And these traffickers come up to them and say, hey, what's the matter? Are you okay? Oh, no, I've just left home. I can't stand it. I can't stand my parents. I hate them. I wish I could get away. Next thing you know, they're saying, well, we can give you a good salary and we can even give you a place to live. If you come with us, it's no problem. We've got lots of children your age who are working for us. They get a good salary. Next thing you know, they've gone off with this bloke and they're being trafficked. When really it was just a moment of anger and frustration that put them in that position. Similarly, adults might not be so easily swayed, but they could be forcibly taken. They could be taken off the street, forced into a car, and the next thing you know, you're in some field somewhere, picking cotton or, squashing berries or whatever it is they make them do. So don't underestimate these people. They're very, very shrewd. And very, very, they sit there waiting and watching for vulnerable people. They actually go to places where children are homeless and, they sit there and wait and watch and see which children they can pick on to take with them to get them to work so that they can exploit them. So nobody is safe from the traffickers. I'm going to continue this in part 2. This is Blackbright News, and we're talking about human trafficking today.